Everyone was waiting for Mbappe versus Lamine Yamal. But what happened in the semi-finals was not a battle of stars. It was a harsh, tactical masterclass. France entered as one of the heavy favorites to win the World Cup, but they left unable to impose their style. While Spain didn't just win, they exposed most of Les Bleus' weaknesses to the world. In the second match, we witnessed one of the most dramatic games of the tournament. A match that flipped in just a few minutes, turning England's dream of reaching the final into a nightmare. So, how did Spain qualify? How did Argentina bounce back? And who made the mistakes that ended the dream of reaching the World Cup final? All eyes were on France versus Spain, a clash between a team with massive attacking firepower, led by Kylian Mbappe, and a Spanish side playing some of their best football in recent years. From the start, it was clear that this match wouldn't be decided by individual skills alone, but by who would win the battle of tactical details. Luis de la Fuente lined up with his usual system, focusing on building from the back and controlling the midfield, while Didier Deschamps tried to rely on the pace of Mbappe, Dembélé, and Barcola in quick transitions and an early press. As the match kicked off, Spain immediately imposed their personality. They dominated possession, controlled the tempo, and prevented France from reaching the transition speed they relied on throughout the tournament. Whenever France tried to press, Spain played through it with confidence and rebuilt their attack. Then came the first decisive moment, when Spain won a penalty and converted it for the opening goal, forcing France to attack. But they still couldn't break Spain's defensive shape. In the second half, Spain continued to dictate play, not by overcommitting, but by playing calmly until they scored the second goal, after a team move that confirmed their superiority in every detail. When looking at the numbers, Spain held the majority of possession, created more chances, had a higher expected goals (XG) value, and recovered the ball quickly after losing it, while France failed to threaten Spain's goal with their usual danger. As for the refereeing, there were no major controversial decisions that affected the outcome. The key decisions, especially the penalty, were made after VAR reviews, and the match ended without any major refereeing errors, meaning the referee was not the talking point. Spain's tactical superiority was. But the real question is, why did France look so helpless throughout the match, despite having all these big names? The answer starts with the press. Many expected Spain to play a man-to-man high press against France, but De La Fuente chose a different path. He knew that leaving his defenders in isolated 1v1 situations against Mbappe or Dembélé could be suicidal. So he relied on a calculated three-man front press while keeping defensive density behind them. Some might think Spain made a mistake by leaving Rabiot free in some moments. But in reality, that was part of the plan. De La Fuente realized that Rabiot, even if he got on the ball, wouldn't be as dangerous as Mbappe or Dembélé in 1v1 situations. Therefore, Spain preferred to let Rabiot have the ball in exchange for closing down all spaces for France's most dangerous players. From here, Mbappe's defensive work rate became an issue. Tried to press the center-backs, but he was often pressing alone while Spain built up as a collective unit. Every time Mbappe stepped up to press, Paul Cubarsí would carry the ball forward himself, exploiting the gaps left by the French press. He wasn't just passing, he was driving forward with the ball over long distances, forcing the French midfield to step out of position, which created spaces between the lines. This led to one of the most important tactical ideas of the match. Fabian Ruiz wasn't moving just to receive the ball. He was moving to drag the center back out of position. He would scan for space first, then run into it to force the defender to follow him, while Lamine Yamal, or one of the midfielders, made a run into the vacant space. This idea might not work on the first try, but Spain repeated it until they succeeded, and the second goal came from these exact movements. The goal wasn't just a beautiful pass or shot. It was the result of tactical work that started seconds before, when Fabian Ruiz successfully dragged the defender away and created the space that Spain exploited perfectly. After the match, Luis de la Fuente praised his players' discipline, emphasizing that the key to victory was total commitment to the game plan. As for Didier Deschamps, he admitted that Spain was the better team and that France couldn't impose themselves, especially in midfield. Even Mbappe admitted that the Spanish team took their chances better, while France failed to turn their good. Moments into goals, Spain won because they controlled the midfield, organized their defense brilliantly, and exploited every minor detail. France lost because their press was uncoordinated. They couldn't stop Spain's build-up play. They relied too much on individual moments, and Deschamps' substitutions came too late, after the game had already slipped away. When we ask, was the result fair? The answer is yes. Not just because Spain scored twice, but because they were better in almost every aspect of the game. In stats, chances, organization, and tactical reading, they fully deserved to reach the final, while France's journey ended in the semi-finals. But if Spain qualified through tactical superiority, the second match had a completely different story. A match between Argentina and England, a historic rivalry full of intensity. But it ended with one of the most dramatic finishes in World Cup history. England was just minutes away from the final, before Argentina turned everything around at the very end. Thomas Tuchel set up with a balanced game plan, relying on defensive organization and quick transitions through Anthony Gordon, Jude Bellingham, and Harry Kane. Meanwhile, Lionel Scaloni entered the match knowing that facing a well-organized team like England required patience, so he focused on possession, controlling the ball, and not rushing the attack. The match started with high caution from both sides. Neither team wanted to make the first mistake, so most of the first half action was played in midfield, with Argentina having a slight edge in possession against England's disciplined low block and transition-based approach. At the start of the second half, England managed to strike first. A quick counterattack found Anthony Gordon, who exploited the space and scored the opening goal, putting England one step away from the final. But this is where the real match began. Instead of continuing to press and search for a second goal, England dropped deep to protect their lead. At first, the decision seemed logical, but against a team like Argentina, giving away the ball like that means giving them complete control of the match. Argentina began to completely dominate possession, pinning England back inside their own half. Minute after minute, the pressure grew, and England became unable to keep the ball even for a few consecutive passes. The stats were shocking. After Gordon's goal, England's possession dropped significantly, while Argentina dictated almost the entire game until Enzo Fernandez scored the equalizer in the 85th minute. Before England could process what happened, the knockout blow came in stoppage time, when Lautaro Martinez converted a late attack into the back of the net, sending Argentina to the final and turning the game around in just minutes. On the refereeing side, there were no decisions that sparked major controversy. The referee managed the game calmly, letting play flow on most physical challenges, and there were no game-changing errors, so refereeing was not the reason for England's exit. But why did England lose a match they were leading until the final minutes? The answer starts with a decision to drop deep. After scoring, England abandoned their press and dropped into a low block. The issue wasn't the defending itself, but that they lost the ability to play out of pressure. Every time they won the ball back, they lost it seconds later, starting a new wave of Argentine pressure. Scaloni read the game smartly. He didn't ask his players to rush or play random long balls. Instead, he relied on shifting the ball from side to side to force the English defense to constantly shift. And over time, gaps began to appear between the lines. Every time a defender stepped out to press the ball carrier, an Argentine player ran into the space left behind, which gradually dismantled the defensive structure. England also lost control of the midfield. After taking the lead, Bellingham and Kane were closer to their own defense than the attack, breaking the link between midfield and attack, leaving no outlet to move the ball forward. This gave Argentina continuous possession, not just for show, but to tire out their opponent and deny them a recovery phase. Then the substitutions highlighted the difference between the two managers. Scaloni brought on players who maintained the same attacking intensity, while Tuchel's changes focused on protecting the lead rather than trying to kill the game with a second goal. This message made England players drop even deeper, giving Argentina more confidence to keep attacking. The equalizer was not a fluke. It was the result of continuous pressure that lasted for over 10 minutes, and Lautaro Martinez's goal in stoppage time was the natural outcome of a team that never stopped attacking against a team that just defended and waited for the final whistle. Argentina won because they had that championship mentality. They didn't lose their cool after going behind, and they didn't change their style. They kept playing with the same confidence until the end. Scaloni also read the match well and made the right substitutions at the right time, while England continued to retreat until they paid the price. On the other hand, England lost because they gave up the initiative, lost control of the midfield, couldn't play out under pressure, and their substitutions were late and failed to change the course of the game. When we ask, was the result fair? England fans might feel bitter because their team was leading until the final minutes. But looking at the entire match, especially the last half hour, Argentina dominated and created more chances, so their qualification to the final was fully deserved. And with that, the World Cup final lineup is complete. Two teams that got here in completely different ways, but fully deserved their place in the final match. Spain didn't reach the final by chance. They were the most organized team throughout the tournament. A team that relies on possession, smart pressing, building from the back, and collective movement off the ball. Every player knows their role, and every movement has a purpose, which is why they outclassed France despite their world-class attacking talent. As for Argentina, they proved once again that a championship mentality is not just measured by the number of stars, but by the ability to make a comeback when the game seems lost. They didn't give up against England, didn't lose their cool, kept playing with the same confidence until the final minute, and punished every mistake the opponent made to snatch their place in the final. Now, we are set for a match full of excitement. Spain will enter the game trusting the style that gave them control over most of their opponents. They will try to dominate possession, control the tempo, and force Argentina to chase the ball. On the other hand, Argentina will rely on their massive experience in decisive matches, their players' character, their ability to handle pressure, and clinical exploitation of any mistakes. If Spain gives them any space, they won't hesitate to exploit it. The battle won't just be between attackers or goalkeepers. It will be a tactical war between two managers and two different footballing philosophies. Will Spain's possession and organization triumph, or will Argentina's character and final experience win? Small details could decide the title. Who controls the midfield? Who presses successfully without leaving gaps? Who exploits set pieces better? And who keeps their focus when the pressure rises in the final minutes? These are the questions the final will answer. After everything we saw in the semifinals, predicting the champion has become incredibly difficult. Spain played the best tactical football in the tournament, and Argentina proved they never give up, no matter the circumstances. Now, it's your turn. Who do you think will lift the World Cup? Will Spain be crowned after their brilliant displays? Or will Argentina retain the title and write a new chapter in history? Write your predictions in the comments and tell me, who was the best player in the semifinals? And what was the tournament's turning point in your opinion? And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because our analysis of the final will be on another level. We will dive deep into the tactical details and analyze every single point that could make the difference between the champion and the runner-up.